What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Big Nick, and 1/3 of the group 412, and I am here to tell you a bit of my testimony. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. Actually, I went to school in a suburb of Dallas called Duncanville. My mom had a pretty decent job. She was an engineering tech, and so we had a place in Duncanville, and I played football for a while, and went through high school. And because my mom was in electronics, that's one of the things that I took up while I was in high school. So graduated from high school, had an engineering scholarship through Texas Instruments. It's a semiconductor manufacturing facility here. A lot of stuff. Either way, went there. They sent me to school in addition to allowing me to work. So I had my own place, had my own stuff, and was doing that for a while. But I don't think I had always had this gut feeling that that's not what I was made for. Of course, I could do that for an income, but I was young and I was real big into chasing what I was passionate about, and that wasn't it. So I had an aunt out in Houston, Texas, and she was an attorney and was doing pretty well. So she was like, "Hey, Nick, if you want to come stay with our family and chase your dreams, as long as you're in school, you can come do it." So I did that, and I was able to work for some major labels and a radio station out there. So I learned a lot about music, and eventually I got homesick and ended up moving back to Dallas, Texas. And while I was in Dallas, I worked for another major label. Period. But they had a promotional team here in Dallas called Def Jam. So when I was working for Def Jam, I started realizing everybody around me had something I didn't have, and it was called money. And when I realized I didn't have any, I had some friends from my grandparents' old neighborhood in another part of Dallas called Oak Cliff. And, one thing I was always good at was numbers. So I started doing I had friends that sold narcotics. I had friends that did a lot of different things for money. And I tried the drugs thing for a while. I knew I never wanted to take it. I had an uncle that was addicted to substances for years, in and out of prison because of it. And I never wanted that for my life. So I tried it for a while because it was quick money, but eventually I stopped doing that. And I went into selling other things. And it just was, it was so depressing after a while, because here's a young man that came out of high school with an engineering major, and that's worked for major labels, including artists like Ludacris and Beyonce and Destiny's Child, all these different groups. And here I am in these streets, acting like I had no sense. And, I built a real small name for myself, but I didn't want to build too big of a name because I knew how dangerous that also could be. Because people will try to test you. And I remember one day I was in my neighborhood about to go pick up some money from somebody that owed me some money. And I saw the first independent label that I ever worked for. The owner of that label was riding down the street, and he had a big Hummer on 28-inch rims, and that was before all of that was even out yet. Like, he spent a lot of money. He was a real estate guy, so he made a lot of money through real estate, and that was just one of his businesses. And he pulled me over, and he looked at my car, and I was trying to show off because I knew he had a lot of money, so I pulled out a wad of money out of my pocket and was like, "Hey, man, I'm just out here trying to get it, trying to live." And he looked at my car and saw the guns in the front and another gun behind the seat, and he's like, "Nick, it'd be a shame if I saw you on the news." So he challenged me and said, "If you're willing to read these books, I'm willing to teach you what I know." And from there, I totally believe God used that individual, even though it was not the gospel. And I grew up in the church. My grandfather was a pastor. I grew up in a church background, so I wasn't oblivious to the gospel. I knew very well, and I believe that I had a relationship with Jesus Christ. It was a very poor one. It was a selfish, me-centered relationship. I wanted what I wanted, and I wasn't willing to wait for God to provide anything for me. I just wanted Him to bless my steps in trying to provide something for myself. And he used this individual to kind of redirect my mind and probably save my life. Um, so I started going in that direction, and eventually, God is just like, I did not send you through everything I sent you through the music, labels, through the radio stations, with this other individual, not just teaching me about real estate, but teaching me about business and solid business, and for nothing. So eventually, the Lord led me to do music. I never wanted to be a rapper. That was never on my radar. But God had a purpose and a plan. And with it, He's allowed me to minister in over 20 states, over 40 cities in the United States. And we've been able to go international through ministry. And I can't give anyone glory outside of God. I didn't have it on my radar. It wasn't a plan of mine. I don't even know how all of it got done. I was sitting myself not that long ago and just going through each individual state and each individual city that I've been blessed to be able to do ministry in. And the only thing that I can say is I'm an unworthy vessel, willing to be used at any given time. And if you see me, I can give you the gritty details, and we can talk about it more. But that's my testimony. That's how God changed my life, and He brought me back to Him. A real prodigal son out here. So thank you for the time. See you on the repeat.